Hello everyone, this is Christian Adventure Gamer and I'm Alix the Rogue, and if you haven't noticed, Daniel the Paladin will not be with us today because this is a game that I have played, he is not, and it is Vampire the Masquerade Rivals, the expendable card game. Now, I played this during Gen Con Online, and although with the website that I was using to play it on didn't run as smoothly as I would have liked it to, the game itself was still really enjoyable and fun. And now, before I get into the unboxing, I do want to mention that we have a contest going on, so we have until August 1st to email us at christianadventuregamer@gmail.com. So if you email us at christianadventuregamer@gmail.com, you'll be entered into the chance to win Fallout, the board game. Now, it has been opened, but it has never been played. So for the subject line of the email, put Minions, as for when we first introduced the contest, we were playing a live stream of Valor and Villainy, Minions of Mordak. And in the body, put your name, address, and contact information. Now, without further ado, let's get into the game. So, it has not been opened. I have saved that for on camera. So, just go ahead. You see the back of the box as I try to open this. Alright, finally got it. Alright. Alright. Now we can finally open the box. So there's a little pamphlet about some of the other games. Oh, didn't even introduce who made the game. So, it was made by Renegade Game Studios. So, when you first open it, you have the rule book. So, looking through it, there's a lot to it. But just from a first glance, it does look like it goes into a lot of detail about the game itself and how not only the game is played, but also how each action or game phase works and can be played. Then it also seems to go into detail about the different card types. So, I cannot wait to actually read it. And then you have your little tokens. So, let's go ahead and do the test. It seems to come out real easily. So that's good. I will go ahead and set those off to the side. Again, there's more tokens. So let's see if some of these bigger ones come out as easy. And they do. And so, they give you extra bags, as well as card separators. So that's really cool. I don't think I've ever opened a game where they do that. So usually you have to either go out and buy your own bags and card separators, or you have to pull them from other games or you've just had extras. And so now, you have the actual card packs. So, you have the 4 families. You have what I believe to be the events, and with the events there would be probably like civilians, or to the vampires food, And then on the back there's also player aids. There's player aids which tell you how the game works, different attack types and how attacking would work. And then you have this. Now since this is an expandable card game, and this is the core set, it came with an extra pack of cards so that you can customize your own group of vampires. Right. So I will save this for last, and I'm just briefly going to go through the cards. But I will start with the events. Alright, so I was right. So on the very back of the stack they had the player aids. So on the front you have the turn sequence. So beginning phase, action phase, and end phase. So these are just some of the events. Which some of the events have ongoing. And so ongoing just means that it's, well, ongoing. It's a continuous event that does not end until a new one is drawn. So those were the events, and so now we have some of the citizens. So you have an athlete, a chef, a cop, an addict, skateboarder, student, tour guide, and here we have Prince of the City. Alright, now to actually open up the different families. So, yes, as you can see there are 4 groups. You have the Bruja vampires, the Toreador vampires, the Venture vampires, and the Melkavian vampires. So I'll start with the Melkavian vampires. So there, as you could, if you would call it, head of the house is Govna. And so this is a vampire that you will have no matter what. So some of the other vampires are, there you have Bad Penny, inmate number 745943, Velvet, Karma, Lolita, Street Preacher, and that looks like it's it. So those are some of the other vampires that you have to your disposal to recruit once and if you draw them. And then every family has, again, their own agenda, their own vampires, and their own haven. So this family's haven is called the Madhouse. And each one has a different ability for the leader, which for this family is Govna. So then you have weapons, and so you have something that you can use for range attack. And then you also have actions. So with this family, as it mentioned, drawing conspiracies for their agenda. So it would make sense that they would have a couple of conspiracies. You have some reactions, you have an attack, some more conspiracies, some action cards. And so with the attack cards, they show you what kind of attack type they are. So like with this one, it is a social. The one from... So this one is mental, and this one is physical. And then okay, so with reactions, they can be, like with this one, it can be any of 3 types. Some more conspiracies, attacks. Yeah. So again, with this family, it makes sense that they'd have a lot of conspiracies since that is what their agenda is wanting them to get at. So next I will do... Oh, I mispronounced it earlier. It is the Ventrue vampires. So this family's leader is Randolph Mars. So the other vampires are Stevie Osborne, Bruno Wagner, Zhang Vai. Why? I am so sorry for not knowing how to pronounce that. Montgomery White, Humberto Garcia, Nancy Witt. Oh, and Nancy Witt. I always expect there to be more vampires, and there's never a whole lot, but it's alright. And then this family's agenda is called Base of Power. So when a character in your courtier, so basically a group of vampires that are out in the streets is what you'd call a courtier, so when a character in your courtier attaches a title, you gain 2 crowns. So this family is definitely about power. And their haven is called the Royal Retreat. So I would assume that this family would have a lot of action cards. So attacks. Oh, and there's some schemes in here. And it looks like they have unique action cards as well. So every family is different in the way that their decks are made and built, which I really like about this. So you're never gonna see this same 2 cards in a deck, or like in another family's deck. So the next one is the Torador vampires. So the leader of this family is Lexu Chen. So then for vampires, we have Belafort, Mohammed Zadeh, Iris Locken, Liza Holt, John Cartoon, and Ty Smith. So their agenda is playthings. When a character in your courtier attaches a citizen retainer, gain 1 crown. So a citizen retainer would be like the police officer or the chef. And their safe haven is the penthouse. So based on this family, they seem like they're definitely the social type, So like it makes sense if they had a lot more social attacks or actions that were more socially, or attacks or actions that were more socially based, so like schemes. Which seems to be correct. So, yes, we did see that card. We did see this card in the Ventrue vampires. I don't really expect all the families to have it, but I could also see why this card would be in with this family. And then finally, we have the Bruja vampires, which I do believe this was the family I played as. The leader of the Bruja vampires is Hydra. And some of the other vampires are the Cossack, Brother, Beretta, Johnny, Skunk, and Sweetums. So a lot of them seem like they have a Russian or mafia kind of vibe. So I'd say that they probably pride themselves on a lot of physical violence and attacks. So their agenda is called Turf War, and it is when you defeat a non-rival character, gain 1 crown. When you defeat a character with 5+ life or blood, basically, gain 1 crown. So there's 2 ways for this family to gain crown, which is interesting. And their haven is called House of Pain, which makes sense. So I already noticed right off the bat that they do have a lot of physical attacks in this deck. And so now that we have gone through all the family decks, I say that we take a quick look at the special deck, as I shall call it. Now, I'm not going to go real in-depth with the cards, just because I don't want to spoil too much for if you decide to get it, which I highly recommend. So, right off the bat, you have a couple of different havens to choose from, as well as there's some different agendas and new vampires that you can add in or trade out. And then you have different attacks and actions, as well as schemes. And you have influence modifiers, which I don't think we saw any of those in the actual base game. So that's interesting. There's some more. Other than those, everything else we've kind of seen in the game. And with that, we'll go ahead, take it back up top, and wrap it up. Alright, so with everything that comes with the game, I'm a little surprised. I expected more to be in there, but also for what the game is, it's enough, which is a good thing. I mean, you have your own, you have the vampire decks, and then you also have the tokens, which you need to play the game. You have the vampire decks, you have the tokens, and you have the player aids, as well as the rulebook to go back and look at if you need. It's kind of simple. It's easy to manage, it's easy for setup. All you have to do is separate cards and kind of just make sure that everyone has the right amount of tokens to start with, that the tokens are in their respective places, that cards are in their respective places, and that someone, if not everyone, has a general idea, or a good idea, as to how to play the game. And so with that, I will leave it off here for a more in-depth review of the game. So just seeing the game again with all the components and pieces, but actually physically seeing them, I'm really excited to actually play this again. Again, I had played it during Gen Con Online, but just the program that it was being ran on, it did not want to move. It did not want to run smoothly on the computer. But I still had a good time playing it with the people that were running the game and just the other people that were also playing with us. And just as a reminder, again, if you want to be entered into our contest to win Fallout the board game, email us at christianadventuregamer@gmail.com. Subject line minions, and in the body, put your name, address, and contact information. Who knows? You could always win. We'll leave it off there. See you.